Okay, part 2, how to clean and prepare a stone, how to apply the Akepox 2040, and join two pieces of stone together, in this case marble. So we're going to start with a sprayer and a stainless steel brush. Stainless steel brushes are great for preparing surfaces for joining, however they should not be used for general stone cleaning of the face of a stone because they will be detrimental to the long-term preservation of it. So we're going to apply some water. And then we're going to take the stainless steel brush and we're just going to give a little bit of a circular motion to it. And this is Vermont marble I'm using here today that I got up in West Rutland, Vermont when I was up there visiting the quarry. Okay, so that's pretty well prepped. And now we're going to give it a little rinse here. Usually I'll be doing this outside, so it'll make a little water, but not a major cleanup. Okay, so after the surface is pretty clean, we're going to come in here and we're going to dry it out. Okay, and we'll move this to the side, and that will be part 1. The next thing we'll have to do is we'll have to clean the surface it's going to join to. This stone had been joined to another stone and was intentionally broken off for testing purposes. So we're going to come in here and we're going to do the same thing to the bottom. Cleans very nicely. And we're going to give it a little spritz for a rinse. Just a little water there. Sorry, I'm blocking the view. We're going to dry this off nicely. Tremendous amount of marble was quarried out of the West Rutland area historically in the 1800s to the early 1900s. And it's pretty much a dormant area now for the quarrying business. Okay, so there we go. The stone is pretty well prepped. It's drying very quickly in this temperature. If we use these very absorbent blue paper towels, we can dry it up very quickly. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is we're going to place the stone on top of the base, and we're going to make a couple marks in order to measure it accurately and join it up where we want. Now, of course, in many situations we'd want to use other materials in conjunction with the epoxy, like a monument setting compound. In some situations we may want to use a mortar or drill and apply pins, but here we're just going to show how to join a smaller stone directly with epoxy. We're going to measure from each end and we're going to make it equal. So wow, I got it right on 3.5. We're going to make a little mark here for future reference. Of course, the pencil is not permanent. And we're going to come in here in this dimension, 3 and 2.5, so it has to come this way about 1/4. And there we go, 2 3/4, 2 3/4. We'll make that pretty equal. Of course, we're not sure that everything is all milled perfectly. These are kind of scrap pieces of stone. So there we go, about 2 3/4. It's looking pretty good. So we'll make a mark in this back corner area so we have a proper placement. Okay, so now we can move this back to the side temporarily. And we have a good indication of where it's going to go. We'll do one final drying. It is good to have a clean, dry surface. However, a slight amount of moisture will not render the epoxy ineffective because it is fairly tolerant of low levels of moisture. Okay, so we're going to come in, we're going to use some dabs of epoxy in this situation. We could go on either side, but in fact we'll go on this side here. I'll place this up here so you can see what I'm doing. And we're going to, in fact we'll just run it straight down the center. We don't want to use too much because it's going to tend to squeeze out. It's a pretty easy epoxy to clean up. It's a slow setting epoxy, so there's a lot of working time, meaning that under average working conditions, we probably have about a good ½ hour at least to work with it. It's not like a flash set, so there's a lot more flexibility. So we're going to run it right down to the middle. It's a lot of epoxy for a small stone. It's going to be a very strong bond. Okay, that's pretty good. Put this aside. And now we'll go ahead and join the stone. We want to make sure we don't have any epoxy on our hands. or with a typical stone in the sun, once the ultraviolet UV hits the stone, it will tend to discolor the epoxy, and we don't want it to be visible. So we're going to go ahead now, and we're going to, oh, almost got it on my hands. We're going to place this right where it goes. We're going to go ahead and tip it up, and there we have it. Now it's wanting to skate around a bit. We didn't use any spacers, we didn't use any compound. It's just a demonstration on just epoxy application. And this would be, if we were fixing a fractured stone, it would have many different uses. And we can give it a measurement and fine tune it now. And we're looking for 3.5 each way, 3.5 here, 3.5 here. We had about 2 3/4 in front and 2 3/4 in front. So there you have it. Joining 2 pieces of marble with Akepox 2040. In about an hour or 2, once this hardens up, this will be extremely strong and will last for many, many years.